Good morning, all of you. Welcome to today's biology class. So, today in our class, we are revising our lesson control and coordination. You already started the revision, so today is the second part. Shall we start? Okay. So, we discussed about the control and coordination. We discussed that there are two systems, mainly there are two systems involved. What are the two systems? You remember? Yes, these are the nervous system and the peripheral and the endocrine system. So in the nervous system we are learning about the nerves, otherwise the neurons, about the neurons, and in the endocrine system we are learning about the hormones. So what are the important structure of what are the structure of a neuron? What is its function? That all we discussed. I'm just giving you a brief summary. So neurons, there are three important parts in a neuron, that are cell body, dendrite, and axon. So neuron, it has three important parts in a neuron, that are cell body, dendrite, and axon. Then different types of actions are occurring due to the coordination that we will continue in the next continue later. So the structure of neuron, the neuron has three important parts: cell body, dendrite, and axon. Then we discussed that there are different types of actions are happening. What are the three important actions? You have to learn about voluntary, involuntary, and reflex. Voluntary action, involuntary action, and reflex action. These are the three important actions. So what are voluntary actions? Any type of action that we can control by our will. We can change it according to our will. That are called voluntary actions. So what are involuntary actions? Any type of action that we couldn't control by our will. That we can't control by our will. It's called involuntary action. The third one is reflex action. What is reflex action? Reflex action is a type of involuntary action, but it is sudden spontaneous action. For example, when we are, if hot water, when we are going to touch a hot water, suddenly we are withdrawing our hand back. This is happened because of the reflex action. Same like the sneezing, coughing, that we couldn't control, but it is sudden spontaneous action. This is it happens spontaneously. So that are called the reflex action. So three type of actions are there. What are they? Voluntary action, involuntary action, and reflex action. These are the three important actions. The important one is reflex action that we are discussing in this lesson only. Reflex action, it's a sudden spontaneous action. I have to give a definition: automatic involuntary actions. It is automatic involuntary action that occur without the will of an animal. A reflex action may be defined as a automatic and mechanical response to a stimulus. It is response to a stimulus. When we are getting a stimulus, we are responding to that one, acting as specific receptors without the will of an organism. It is without the will of an organism happen in a special receptor. So what do you mean by receptors? There are different types of receptors, just like our sense organ. For example, we can identify the heat. How can we identify the heat? With which organ we are using to identify the heat or cold? Yes, we can identify it with the help of our skin. So that are called thermoreceptors. Thermoreceptors, which mean in our skin that receptors are present that help us to identify the heat and the cold. So that are called thermoreceptors. Next one is photoreceptors. What do I mean by photoreceptors? Which means photoreceptors are present in our eyes that help us to identify the light. When the light is coming, we can identify that with the help of our eyes. So it's called receptors are called photoreceptors that are present in our eyes. The next one is phonoreceptors. What are phonoreceptors? Phonoreceptors present in our ears that help us to identify the sounds. We can identify the sound with the help of phonoreceptors that are present in our ear. So each particular organ, different types of receptors are present that help us to identify the different process. The next one, olfactory receptors. Olfactory receptors are present in the nose that help us to identify olfactory receptors are help us to identify the smell. The next one, gustatory receptors that are present in our tongue, so that help us to identify the taste. So different sense organs, what are the receptors present in our sense organ that we discuss now? Thermoreceptors, photoreceptors, phonoreceptors, olfactory receptors, and gustatory receptors. These are the different types of receptors. Then, so in all higher animals receives a variety of external stimuli through the specialized neurons termed sensory receptors. These are the different types of sensory receptors. Then we discussed about the reflex arc. What is reflex arc? It is like a reflex action. We discussed that it is a sudden spontaneous process happens when we are going to touch a hot object. Suddenly we are withdrawing our hand. This is because of reflex action. So now we are going to see how this reflex action is happening. That is reflex arc. The term reflex arc. Arc, the reflex arc, which means the path taken by the nerve impulse in a reflex action is called a reflex arc, which means when a reflex action is happening, there is a path is occurring from our receptors to the spinal cord. A message is transferring. There is a path is occurring. That path is called a reflex arc. Okay, the path taken by the nerve impulse in a reflex action is called a reflex arc. So that is all about the reflex action. Then some points about the reflex action. It is inborn and present in the individual. It is present in an individual since birth. It is an inborn character. The reflex action is a inborn character. By birth, we are getting this ability. Next, it is automatic and occurs without the will of an individual. That we already discussed. It's sudden, spontaneous, automatic activity. We couldn't control. We can't change. We couldn't change it according to our will. Then it can be changed. So that are the points about the reflex action. I hope it's all clear for you. In the next session, we will discuss about the coordination in plants and about the structure of brain. We will discuss in our next class. I hope it's all clear for you. Thank you. Have a nice day.